Barbara Anderson would often say, "Jim, you and I are different genetic species." And she was probably right, but it didn't stand in the way of a 3-decade odd couple-ish friendship. Barbara, head of Citizens for Limited Taxation and mother of the property tax limiting Prop 2.5, died on Friday at 73. We agreed on almost nothing except that democracy is best when everybody's involved. We met after Barbara had won 2 ballot campaigns, 2.5 and a tax cap in '86. I was hired to lead the opposition, though the opposition never thought we could beat her, just respond to her. We debated taxes throughout the state, reaching a crescendo when Barbara placed what would have been the largest percentage budget cut on the ballot in U.S. history, question 3 in 1990. Some days we debated 5 times with huge crowds, often in the thousands, about taxes and driving in the same car. That drove our supporters nuts. We ended up winning that one, to the amazement of all on my side, but that really wasn't the point. What was is that virtually every single person in Massachusetts was engaged in a campaign that would have profound impact on our lives. When my side put a question on the ballot in '92, which was settled before the vote, Barbara and I were invited to co-host 8 weeks of election coverage on NECN. It was like Wayne's World. Our first guests were the likely gubernatorial opponents 2 years later, Joe Kennedy and incumbent Bill Weld. They got along swimmingly, to the point where I asked Weld if he would endorse Kennedy's fall re-election. But Barbara, when she wasn't chiding her ally Weld to speak up, was debating Kennedy herself, introducing him by saying, quote, "He's the least awful of the Massachusetts congressional delegation." The next day's headline in the Globe read, "Weld-Kennedy debate radiates little heat, but Kennedy versus Anderson generates some." We battled again on the grad tax in '94. I lost this time by a narrow 71-29 margin. Since then, she was a frequent guest and a regular email companion with her take-note prisoners, I don't care what anyone thinks about me approach, never wavering. Love what she stood for or hate it, no citizen activist ever affected Massachusetts politics like Barbara Anderson. And it continued in her self-obit in today's papers, opening with, "If you're reading this, I am dead," and ending with her taking fiscal ally Charlie Baker to task for not honoring what she says was a promise he made on the campaign trail. Even in death, Barbara's still Barbara, a political force of nature unlike any we've seen before or likely we'll see again. Please email or tweet us to share any memories you have of Barbara Anderson.